Morning friends, happy Tuesday, how the heck you doing? And even today, I honestly cannot make any sense of this at all. We're still in a situation, will they, won't they, and it's all about security. And the one person, Charles, his own father and the grandfather to their children, who has the power to influence this, is doing nothing. And I honestly wonder, is it time for Harry just to accept that Charles doesn't love him, and he doesn't care anything about Meghan, and he doesn't care whether his grandchildren are safe or not? And that's the harsh reality of life sometimes. Sometimes you have to be pushed to a point where you say, enough is enough, and I'm going to let go. And I don't know whether Harry's approaching that point, but honestly, I think he really needs to seriously consider this. The background to this story is all about the Spencers. The British non-working royal family do not want Harry, Meghan and the children visiting the Spencers and photographs being taken of them visiting Diana's grave. That would be more terrible PR for the other side of the family. They want Diana to stay dead and buried and in the past. They don't want her memory to be alive because, of course, as soon as we think about Diana, we think about how awfully that family treated her. To stop Harry and Meghan and the children doing that, they've withdrawn any reasonable level of security. It's a game of cat and mouse. Charles doesn't care, in my humble opinion. He is a deadbeat dad and an even more deadbeat granddad. That side of the family, not the Spencers, the other side, are awful. My opinion's not important, yours is. Comments are open.
Let's keep it 100% real. Martin Gord hit the absolute nail on the head. A photo of Harry and Meghan with Archie and Lilibet standing at Princess Diana's resting place is the ultimate nightmare scenario for the royal establishment. Why? Because that single image completely breaks their entire corporate PR matrix. The palace is terrified of that picture because it represents raw, unmanufactured human legacy. It takes the crown's shiny, gold-plated authority and completely shrinks it down next to the real queen of people's hearts. If the public sees Harry passing his mother's true torch down to those beautiful kids, the palace grey suits know their stiff, choreographed theatre loses all its power. It proves love wins over a taxpayer-funded title every single day of the week. And let's be honest about the family dynamics here, because the street-level view of this is just tragic. Charles is acting like a completely disgraceful father, period. It's wild to watch. Regular people look at this and think, how do you have all the money, resources and jets in the world, but you can't show basic baseline care for your own son and your grandkids? Imagine a regular neighborhood grandpa who completely blanks his own flesh and blood, locks them out of the house and cuts off their security, all while calling up the local papers to play the victim. You wouldn't think he's a dignified statesman, you'd think he's a cold, petty man who put his corporate job ahead of his own household. Regular folks don't care about royal protocol, they care about human decency. When a father and grandfather chooses the institution over his own family's peace, the entire setup exposes itself as totally hollow. Harry is showing up for his kids and honoring his mother, while the establishment is just standing in the corner counting their gold coins and losing the only thing you can't buy, real human connection. Let's talk about the complete Payday mirage that just blew up in the faces of the UK press pack, because honestly, the level of absolute desperation is pure comedy. The minute the rumours started flying that Harry, Meghan and the kids were heading across the pond, these media newsrooms acted like they'd just struck oil on the property. You could practically hear the executives rubbing their hands together, drooling over the massive checks they were about to cash off those children's faces. They had the whole game plan ready, primetime specials, zoomed-in front-page spreads, and endless think pieces passing every single pixel. They thought they had hit the absolute lottery. But guess what? The Sussexes dropped a masterclass in drawing a line. They let the world know the family is travelling, but the kids are doing zero public appearances. None. The money shots? Gone. The big payday? Evaporated into thin air at the absolute last second. Let's look at this from a street-level perspective. Imagine a bunch of neighborhood scammers setting up a whole ticket booth, serving front-row seats, and hyping up a massive block party event in your driveway. They're charging people left and right, acting like they own the place. Then right before the gate opens, you roll down your window, tell the crowd you're just driving through to visit family, and close the garage door on them. The scammers are left standing on the hot pavement with empty pockets and a crowd of angry people asking for refunds. That is the exact level of embarrassment hitting Fleet Street right now. They felt entitled to use Harry's children as a corporate profit machine, and they are completely losing their minds because he outsmarted them before they could even unpack their camera lenses. It's hilarious watching them melt down over a father simply doing his job and protecting his household. Let's talk about the absolute strategic masterpiece that is the zero engagement lockdown, because Harry and Meghan just played a game of high-stakes chess while the UK press was playing checkers with their eyes closed. The Sussex team officially let it drop that the kids are flying in, but they added one tiny beautiful clause: 0 public events. Not a single one. No charity galas, no balcony waves, no stepping outside to smile for the flashbulbs. The media's expected money shots and multi-million-dollar photo ops completely vanished into thin air before they could even unpack their tripods. Let's look at this from a street-level perspective. Imagine the greediest promoter in town spends a whole month hyping up a massive concert. They sell VIP tickets, print posters, line up sponsors, and promise the whole city a front-row view of the biggest stars. Then on the night of the show, the artists roll up in an armoured truck, head straight into a private studio in the back to hang out with their family, and lock the deadbolt. The promoter is left standing in the lobby with a bunch of empty cameras, sweating through his suit, completely broke. That is the exact level of operational lockdown happening right now. The tabloids are throwing an absolute tantrum because they genuinely believe they were entitled to exploit Archie and Lilibet for their next clickbait campaign. They wanted to turn a private family trip into a commercial circus. By drawing this hard line, Harry and Meghan didn't just protect their babies, they starved the vultures. They proved you can step onto the court without letting a media rig the score, and watching the press pack realize they've been completely outplayed is pure entertainment. Let's talk about the absolute trash heap of a narrative trying to spin a father taking his kids to visit their grandmother's grave into some kind of public scandal. The UK press is genuinely sitting there, typing up furious headlines because Harry is bringing Archie and Lilibet to lay down some flowers for Princess Diana. Are you completely out of your minds? Since when is honouring your deceased mother a corporate spectacle for the evening news? Let's pull this down to a regular, everyday street level. Imagine your mum passed away years ago. You've built a life, you have beautiful children, and they are finally old enough to understand family history. You pack them up, take them down to the cemetery, hand them a couple of daisies, and say, "This is where your grandmother rests. She would have loved you so much." That isn't a PR stunt. That isn't a headline. That is just normal, beautiful, thoughtful parenting, period. Every single regular person watching this gets it instantly. You want your kids to know where they come from. You want them to feel that human connection to their roots. But because it's Harry and Meghan, the tabloids act like they owe the public front-row seats to their private grief. They want a full media circus outside the gates of Althorpe House, with cameras flashing while a father tries to have a quiet moment with his babies. It is gross, it is parasitic, and it shows you exactly why the Sussexes have the deadbolt turned on the press pack. This trip is about family, it's about memory, and Harry is making sure his mother's legacy belongs to her grandchildren, not to a bunch of media vultures trying to turn a profit off a family's heart. Let's keep it 100% real. Prince Harry deserves so much better than the absolute circus this toxic media machine puts him through. The man can't even step off a plane to take his kids to see his own mother's resting place without a bunch of corporate suit and tie vultures trying to turn it into a pay-per-view event. It is wild. He is out here playing elite-level defense just to protect his household, and honestly, you have to respect the hustle. He is outsmarting the entire establishment just by being a solid dad. That is the breakdown for today, people. Massive, massive love to everyone for rocking with the channel. You guys are the absolute backbone of this movement. If you appreciate the real, raw, street-level commentary, do me a massive solid. Smash that like button, share this video with the squad, and hit that subscribe button so you never miss a single receipt. Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's keep the energy going. I am your host, Miles. Stay real, stay safe, and I will check you all on the very next video.